So I decided making a video explaining why cheats are inevitable. Kind of maybe to ease the pain of whoever is playing shooters and like, God damn, this game is awful, everyone cheats and whatnot. Kind of also explain a little bit from the developer side, like why are cheats inevitable? And why shooters will always have aimbots and wall hacks. So let's begin with wall hacks. The reason wall hacks happen, period, is because the server running the actual game, the simulation, is going to have to send all the enemy data to your computer. So one, you can render them like a character on the screen. And two, so you can play sounds for them. One could even argue, okay, so if I don't have line of sight to the enemy, I cannot see the enemy, don't send the data. This is useless. You're just enabling wall hacks. That's actually kind of not completely true because you still have to play all the sounds the player makes. So like footstep sounds, like reload sounds, anything that happens by a player that has to play a sound has to be sent. And eventually the client, your PC running the game, will have to receive this data and then wall hacks can be made. So it would be almost useless to go and create this whole line of sight system to prevent wall hacking. Not only that, it could create weird stuff where people show up on your screen a little bit too late. Instead of showing gradually on your screen after coming out of a wall, it would show just pop in instantly. So it would be a really bad system. Not only that, it would be extremely expensive for the developers. Basically, game servers, they run on computers, and those computers have electricity bills, internet bills. They have a monthly cost, while you buy the game only once. So it's a really hard business model to maintain. And if you make the server super expensive because it's checking line of sight every time against all enemies, it's useless and expensive. Like, it's not going to happen. So wall hacking is always going to exist. Like, there's no way around it. Next one is aimbotting. So why are aimbots inevitable? That one is tough, but basically because aimbots do nothing other than sending the game mouse input data. They literally behave like a mouse. Like if you bend aimbotting, you would bend mouses, right? So it's actually completely inevitable. One thing companies do for both is using cheat engine, like cheat detectors, right? And those work well as just making the cheater's life harder. And so there's less cheaters in the game, but it's also completely inevitable. It's a whole rabbit hole why cheat engines usually kind of don't work at all. But one thing I can say for sure is there's many ways to hide a cheat, and they usually work. And even if, let's suppose there's a perfect cheat engine that's always there's always going to detect a cheat on your computer and it's going to block the game from running and ban your ass, you can still make literally a robot that moves the mouse. And maybe even you make a mouse that is a cheat, like literally a USB device with like some stuff installed in it that actually just cheats. So it's impossible. So what can companies do to prevent that stuff? One is building a good game. Begins with that. Like, people should not be able to teleport in shooter games. That's completely preventable. People should not be able to speed hack. People should not be able to shoot you from across the map with no way this shot would land. That is completely preventable. If you play a game that all of that is possible, this game is not well made. But if the game is super well made, only aimbotting and wall hacking exists, there's many ways to prevent cheating. One is just making the cheater's life harder through cheat engines, through really harsh punishments, through a high game price. And the way you do that, Counter-Strike kind of did really well with the Overwatch system. So instead of having to hire a bunch of people to keep reviewing footage and making judgments if someone was cheating or not, they just leave it to the community. And that helps a lot. So it becomes a human thing. It becomes deciding punishment, deciding upping the game price, so it's a little bit more expensive to get in. And then some of those systems works really well. So that's what you should look for in a title, right? And ultimately, it comes down to the human psychology. People are going to cheat. I don't know why, but people are going to cheat. And some are completely inevitable. And so you kind of have to deal with it. And if you like shooter games, I don't know, maybe just be like, this dude is a loser, and I'm gonna move on with my life. That's it. That's why cheats are inevitable.